Tottenham need to go through a huge revolution under Ange Postecoglou. We're going through a transition that will see us playing an attractive style of play after a lot of years of pragmatic football. But in order to do that, this summer, more than any other summer, we need to have a huge transfer window. And the most important part of it, in my opinion, will be the selling part. Today we're gonna see how many of our current team members are fit for the style that Ange wants to play with Tottenham. Hugo Lloris, sell. An absolute legend of the club. He stayed with us during the toughest times, even when he had a lot of offer from better clubs. For a long time, he was one of the best keepers in the world. Unfortunately, time flies for everyone, and now Lloris is 37 and is not anymore the top keeper that we all knew. The modern football requires more and more keepers that are comfortable with their feet, and unfortunately, Hugo doesn't fit that criteria. Forster. Keep. Forster has been a solid second choice for this season, stepped up multiple times without Lloris and didn't make too many mistakes. The only problem with him is his distribution. A lot of time he seems insecure with the ball on his feet. Overall, I think that he can be good enough to maintain the spot as the second keeper of the team. However, if we want to sell him, I think that we can easily replace him with better quality. El Cuti Romero. Keep. There are absolutely no doubt about this. El Cuti is a world-class talent. He already won everything with Argentina at 24, and he proved numerous times his immense talent in the Premier League. Surely a difficult year for him last season. Injuries, the fact that we changed 3 managers in a season, the fact that he's playing with a defense that is nowhere near his level, have played a huge part into his struggles. Even this season, though, we have seen what he's capable of. A dominant player that can win every battle into the pitch. Angel likes his centre-back to be front-footed and very aggressive, and this is exactly what Romero can offer. And he can do that at the highest level. We should build our new backline around this guy, Rolls-Royce. Eric Dyer, sell. Simply not good enough. A lot of years at the club and he didn't improve during his time. First as a midfielder, now as a centre-back, Dyer simply don't have the qualities to be a part of a top club. He is too slow and lethargic, very rarely is winning the individual duels, awful defender in the 1-against-1. The only good attribute that he have is the distribution and the passing, but even with that he's too inconsistent. We surely need to sell him this season, even if we are 6 years too late for it. Davinson Sanchez. Sell. This is surely the end of Davinson at Tottenham. Got here 5 years ago with huge expectation from Ajax, but the expectation remains so far from the reality. Great physical talent, very strong and fast, able to play in the high line for sure. The problem is the technical area. Davinson is too inconsistent with the ball, and in these last years, his confidence seemed to be at an all-time low. I think that's the best solution for both parties to separate ways, especially after the full stadium that was whistling him out in one of his last appearances. Ben Davies, sell. Good servant of the club, Ben has been a solid option for a few years now. His ability on the ball, especially in the distribution, has been important for Tottenham in the last years. However, I don't think that he's at the level required in the top tier level of the Premier League. He lacks too much in the dynamic side of the game, too weak to be a centre-back, too slow to be a full-back. After all these years, I can't find a position where he completely excels. Surely not at the level to be a starter for us, maybe could be an option as a squad player, but that's it. Tanganga, sell. Physically exceptional, very fast and strong, can be aggressive and he can play in the high line. However, he is too limited with the ball. His passing abilities are not good enough. He's often in danger when he's under pressure, losing the ball in dangerous areas. We can't afford that, especially with Ange. I think that it's better for everyone to separate ways. Jaffet's confidence seems too low and I don't see him getting it back here at Tottenham. Ivan Perisic, keep. A very strange season for the Croatian international. Struggled in the beginning mainly because of the big injury that he had last season. Sessegnon not being available for the majority of the season was also a huge problem. Perisic at 33 isn't able to play all games at high intensity, and he wasn't supposed to do that. But with all the struggles, Perisic got 12 assists and a goal. After Kane and Son is the one with more goal and assists in the team. I would give him another year, especially with Udogie coming to the team. He can be a wonderful example for him. Sessegnon, Sell. It's time to separate ways even with Ryan. Injuries have been a huge problem during his career at Tottenham. Came here with huge expectation from the championship, but he never showed us what he's capable of. He's not the fastest wingback, he can't play under pressure, and he's not a one-against-one specialist. I really struggle to see a future where Sessegnon will become an elite fullback. It's time to move on for everyone. Pedro Porro. Keep. The Spanish wingback had a very tough introduction to the Premier League. He struggled initially with the pace and the physicality of the league, having a lot of problems, especially defensively. But with the more he played, the more he became comfortable with the new league. He's fast and direct, very good on the ball, with an incredible ball striking ability, as we could have seen in this first part of his experience. Already 3 goals and 3 assists in the league. I'm sure that next season he will be a huge part of the rebuild. Emerson Royal. Keep. The best story of this season, from zero to hero. Last season Emerson was under a lot of criticism. He wasn't offering the offensive work that everyone wanted from a Conte fullback. He seemed to be too limited to be consistently good in the offensive phase. This season though, it changed completely his reputation. With a lot of hard work and desire, he stepped up his game, becoming one of the most reliable defensive fullback in the league. For this reason, I can see him being useful into this Angers era. I'm very happy with this development, and I think that he can offer even more. He's only 23 years old. Højbjerg. Keep. Always available and a very important character in our team. Started the season very well, playing in midfield with Bentancur. They were very functional together, one of the best pair in the Premier League. But as soon as Bentancur got injured, the Højbjerg level dropped drastically with Skip. He had a lot more responsibilities on the ball, and in this situation we've seen the limits of him. His not press resistance is not dynamic enough. That midfield duo invited too much pressure into the defense, and it was one of the main reasons of our poor second half of the season. I would keep him because I understand the role that he has in our team, but I wouldn't start him week in, week out. In my opinion, we need better quality on the ball. Bentancur. Keep. This season Rodrigo elevates his level into another dimension. Technically gifted, able to pass the ball and to carry the ball at the highest level. Defensively he's a top midfielder, very dynamic and very physical. He literally have everything you want from your midfielder. This season Rodrigo also stepped up in the scoring area, becoming a world-class player. Unfortunately, the injury he had against Leicester stopped his magnificent season. A tough injury to recover, but I have no doubt that he will come back as good as he was this season. Oliver Skip. Sell. This might sound very controversial, but I think that we need to sell Skip. Unfortunately, this season for Skip has been very underwhelming. After a good start against AC Milan in the UCL, the English midfielder didn't show us the quality that we need in that department. On the ball is not good enough. He's not press resistance, not a very good ball carrier, and his passing is too inconsistent. His technical foundation seemed too low to be able to see him develop into a top midfielder. If we keep him, surely can't be a first 11 option. It's him or Højbjerg, and I would keep the Danish international. Pape Sarr. Keep. African Young Player of the Year. Surely everyone can see his immense talent. Unfortunately, this season he have very little playing time. After the promising game against AC Milan, we have seen very few of Pape's abilities. Stellini, Conte and Mason preferred Skip all season. But I think that the ceiling of this guy is much higher, and he surely deserves a chance next season under Angers. His profile fits so well the Angers type of player. Very dynamic, able to press and good on the ball. A star in the making. Bissouma. Keep. Very tough season for him. Came here with huge expectation. With Brighton he was consistently one of the best midfielders in the league. Very dynamic, press resistant and quality on the ball. Unfortunately he didn't show his talent and his qualities yet with us. The fit with Conte and the new system wasn't easy, and he didn't shine in the beginning. After that he got a lot of injuries problem that took him out for long. This season we didn't see anything of the quality and the potential of Bissouma. I'm sure though that next season we'll see a better version of himself. He's a top player, one of the best midfielders in the league. Heung-min Son. Keep. After last season Golden Boot, the expectations were very high. Obviously, people were expecting another top season from Sonny. Unfortunately, the season was far from good. Sonny struggled heavily in the first part of the season, failing to score 17 times in the first 18 games, something that no one could ever expect. In the second part of the season, Sonny got his form back, concluding the season with 10 Premier League goals. I have no doubt on him. He's one of the best finishers in the world. I'm sure that he will be the same Son that we all know once will be a functional team under Ange Postecoglou. Harry Kane, keep. The best striker in the world, a legend of the game and a legend of the club. We're absolutely blessed to be able to see Kane playing for our club. If he wants to stay, obviously we need to do everything we can to keep him. 30 Premier League goals in a season where Tottenham was absolutely awful is one of the most impressive achievements I've ever seen. He should be our captain next season. Richarlison, keep. The Brazilian striker came to Tottenham with huge pressure, especially after the fee that we paid for him last summer. Started well his experience with a memorable performance in the UCL with 2 goals against Marseille. After a brilliant World Cup, he came back with even higher expectation. Unfortunately, the injuries have been a huge problem for him. He couldn't settle properly, and he ended the season with just 1 goal in the Premier League. Regardless of this bad start, I have full faith in Richarlison. He's Brazil number 9, a top finisher, and he's also the type of player that Ange likes. Very dynamic, able to press, and with an incredible work rate. Next season, we'll see the real Richarlison. Dejan Kulusevski, keep. Kulu started the season with a huge performance against Southampton. Knowing the amount of talent that he possesses, people expected a statement season for him, putting himself as one of the best players in the league. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Kulu struggled a lot. The team wasn't functional anymore, and his confidence got hit. Injuries were also a huge problem. He looked like the shadow of himself during all season. The fact that we changed managers was a big problem for a young guy like him. Kulu needs someone that can guide him, like Conte did last season. I can see him developing well under Ange. He has the characteristics and the qualities that Ange wants. He will be back on his best.